Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me. This look is going to follow a certain theme. I mean, I saw some pictures on Instagram, 90s supermodel inspired, and I thought I want to create a look really similar to that. It was on Sophia Tilbury's Instagram. I'll pop it on the screen, but similar to this vibe, like the big hair. This has kind of a sculpted eye. I'm not sure if I'll quite go there with it because I'm a little hesitant about the way that might wear. I'm not sure, but really full coverage skin, kind of matte skin with maybe just the most pinpointed pop and that brownish kind of lip. That's sort of my vision for all this. And also I wanted to use my Needs palette for it because this has a lot of perfect mattes for that kind of look. And you guys have been encouraging me very kindly to use my own palettes more. Sometimes I get kind of uncomfortable talking about my own palettes, but thank you for telling me to go ahead and do that. And yesterday, I don't know how I landed on this crazy combination of products, but my makeup lasted so well. Like, I want to say it looked nearly as good as when I started when I went to take it off. Oh, well over 12 hours later. Probably 16 total hours of wear, and it was still looking so good at the end. So I'm gonna do exactly what I did yesterday for my base steps. So I've already got my skincare on, and then I actually primed my skin. Even though I know it's a matte look, I primed my skin with something a bit more glowy to kind of, I don't know, maybe assist in the natural look of my matte. And it's this Milani Glow Drops Radiance Boosting Serum. So I love the smell of this stuff. It smells ever so slightly like suntan oil, okay? And it has kind of a beigey look, but that color doesn't really like hang in there on the skin. But do you see how like it immediately gives the skin even more moisture? And it's not a big like shimmer thing. It says electrolyte and coconut water blend. It just makes your skin feel a little more dewy. Then I used a foundation that I love for long wearing matte looks, and this is so underrated. I've sung its praises before, but up until yesterday it had been a little while since I used it. But the Born This Way matte. This stuff is so good. It's thin, but it's beautiful coverage and it wears like iron. And I wear the shade light beige in it. So I give myself like a pump and a half of this, okay? And then I just dot it around like I do. And as you can see, I've got my rollers in as well because I want to kind of have that volumized 90s look. See, a lot of what I like in makeup sort of goes in that 90s direction. And I've been so surprised to see all of like the 90s clothes trends come back. Like even in places like Walmart, I'm seeing like the little ribbed shirts and just all these different things that make me think, wow, I've actually lived through this whole look one time. So as you can see, the coverage is beautiful. Just making sure it gets really well blended in everywhere. All the little crevices and caverns. By the way, I'm trying to wear a shacket today. Shirt jacket. It's a little corduroy number that Pup got me for Christmas. I'm just wearing it open with a black tank top and some black leggings underneath. That's my look today. Probably have to shed it at some point because even though the mornings start chilly these days, the afternoons you're sweating again. I swear we had 1 week where it really cooled down. So that's the Too Faced Born This Way matte, all blended in. Then I did a combo of 2 concealers, and I don't think it absolutely has to be these certain concealers, but like I wanted to do one that would really brighten me up. This is the ABH Magic Touch in 4. And then I just had this out on my table. This is the Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer, and I wear this in nude. And this is a little bit more like straight up skin tone match, and they put on the claims of this conceal, contour, highlight, retouch, and it truly is a good touch-up concealer. If I'm ever touching up to the point of like kind of refreshing my concealer, I can get away with actually doing a whole other little bit of concealer under my eyes and get a really like flawless look. So this area wore perfectly too. I don't know, just going with it. I went light right in here, and I went light right here and here. And then around the outer part, right out here, I gave myself some of that Too Faced. And right around here, okay? Can you see the little bit of difference in the depth of those colors? I don't think it has to be these concealers. Again, I think the ABH is kind of thick and it kind of likes to set fast. And like, honestly, I think I've said it before, but that Patrick Star, the one size concealer is really incredible. But I must say, I don't know if it was the way I applied them, you know, really getting them worked in well with a beauty blender maybe helps them wear even more evenly, not look so thick. They just look so good all day long. And then I go in with my littler brush. Just making sure everything's really getting blended. Some areas need a little help, even if you are using a beauty blender. Squirrel says, hello. Ain't no mug like a good fall mug. The setting powder I used was the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Translucent. I love this stuff. Love it, love it, love it. It kind of helped the look overall look really matte and flawless. And I applied like a thick amount of this stuff to the under eye. Okay, so quite a bit right in here. Lots. And a lot over the T-zone. We're real matte now. I didn't go to the lengths of baking my under eye like I sort of did yesterday, but I just went ahead and applied a pretty thick amount with my e.l.f. small tapered brush. Now I'm going to bust open my Needs palette. This is like my nicer looking Needs palette. I have an even more like beat up looking Needs palette, but I'm going to go to the shade called Courage, which is our lovely bronzer contour type shade. We're going to get that going around the hairline. This is matte, so it's going to jive well with everything we're doing. And this is available at Target. Both my palettes are at Target. Honestly, I can't believe this is still available, frankly. Like, I can't believe how is this collab that launched in 2018 still making the rounds? I don't know. Somebody out there must like it. But I'm bronzing myself up there. I love the pigment in this, really. Like, I can definitely get the effect that I want without a ton of product, but yet I'm also not scared to use it, you know? I always talk about that, like sometimes you dip into things and it's like, oh, I have to use this so sparingly. I don't know if this is gonna work. Now, you do have Kindness in here, which is just the matte setting powder, and that also is an option for setting the under eye. I'm probably gonna use that at the end just to sort of perfect certain areas. I just didn't wanna mess with that formula I used yesterday because it just, something about that Wet n Wild powder, that Too Faced foundation, the concealers I used. And yes, I will do a video with the wants as well, thinking of some kind of reimagined fall eye, but if you do want any videos using these palettes, I will link below to my entire playlist. It currently has 14 videos on 15 if you count this one, I guess. I need to get better about putting all my videos on playlists. I used to do that with every upload. I would categorize it in some kind of playlist, and now I don't always do that. How many of you actually watch videos off of a playlist, or do you just kind of independently look for what you want to see? So there's that beautiful contour. Then we're going to go into the blush. The blush is called Joy. It's the perfect kind of toasty peach, kind of like a peach mixed with some neutral. It just looks gorgeous on the cheeks. Gonna blend that out. I like to let things come down to the apple because that's just how I am. I don't think you should abandon all personal preferences in the name of what somebody on TikTok told you to do. Who is the 90s icon that you most think of when somebody says to you 90s makeup? I think Cindy Crawford, and I think of CoverGirl makeup ads. Okay, so that beautiful blush, so good. Then we are gonna do a splash of highlight. The highlight in my Needs palette here is very, it's kind of a baked formula, really. It's Gratitude right here. It's a little bit marbled, and it can be built, but it can give you just that softest glow. It doesn't go on the skin looking metallic. It looks a little bit more brightening and pearlescent. Can you see that? Where I put it? Oh, so pretty. And the idea for the Needs palette, in case you're new here, I was doing kind of a best of Revolution palettes. So I took everything that was in here came from a different Makeup Revolution thing, and I kind of wanted it to be one of those greatest hits kind of palettes. Everything was hand-picked, but it came from an existing palette. I'm not gonna go wild with this highlight. I just want that soft little glow on the cheeks, and I still want the vibe of everything to continue to be matte, you know? So that's nice. We'll set this aside for a minute. I'm gonna work on these brows. I'm gonna use my Wet n Wild retractable brow pencil. It's a little bit of a thicker pencil in ash brown. It's got that teardrop shape, and it kind of smells like a box of crayons, but it does work well, and it is Wet n Wild, super affordable. And I'm not gonna hold back much at all as I fill in these brows. I kind of want them to be just maybe a little more bushy, that Brooke Shields thickness going in there. We have complete and utter silence right now. I have no owls. I've just got the hum of my little makeup fridge in the background. Literally no activity outside. But those are the times I like to be up. So I saw some kind of meme that spoke to my soul recently on Instagram, and it was like, there's nothing like being up early with your cup of coffee before anybody else in the house is up, and then it starts to rain. Like, that's the feel right there. We need some rain here, dang. And by the way, thank you guys so much to everybody who still like asks about Dad in the comments section and, you know, wishes him continued good thoughts for his ongoing recovery. He is doing so great. I could not be more proud of this guy and what he has gone through. He's been getting blood work taken pretty much weekly since the surgery, just to make sure everything stays on track, because he had a bit of a high potassium thing going like the week after surgery, and went back into the hospital with that, and it kind of scared us. And they're like, well, high potassium can affect the heart. Fortunately continued checking out fine. They're like, do we need to put a pacemaker in? Do we need to do something? No, that he was like monitored and the heart was doing great. They even made him do a stress test, and this was like very shortly after the surgery, and they're like, this was great. But in these last couple weeks, in his weekly blood draws, they've been showing up good. They realized that something that he'd been prescribed could have been bumping it up in his system, and so they got him off of that. And yesterday's blood work was really wonderful, so I'm just like, praise God, thank you so much. And Mom and I have both been scheming, you know, on how to keep like potassium out of the diet and like not to contribute to it, because basically if you go and you get your blood checked and they find that your potassium has gone even a point higher than like the safe range, they'll send you to the ER. So we don't want that to happen to Dad again. So we've been trying to be real safe, but I think it's a combination of things, you know, getting off of certain medicine and also just, you know, being more distanced from the trauma that your body goes through and surgery and stuff like that. I think everything's just sort of normalizing again, and I'm just so thankful for that. So thank you for your ongoing prayers and good vibes that you send. It warms my heart to see that people care so much and you're just willing to be so giving with their thoughts and kind. Thank you. This is Milani eyeshadow primer. I got through the brows and set them. Like I said, I didn't really hold back on keeping them too thin or anything. I'm wondering, should I do more of a mole? Like, should I have a small mole over here? Should I accentuate that slightly? I kind of feel like if not now, when? I don't want to be too off the wall with it. I'm thinking like a real dark brown. I just pulled out this NARS High Pigment Longwear eyeliner in Last Frontier. See, I actually have a little mole there and then a tiny partner mole. I'm just gonna do that. Like, I'm not gonna go any further than that. We don't need to get crazy here. We don't need everybody at pre-K drop-off to be like, is this a different woman here? I am going to set this with my Believe Beauty Makeup Perfecting Setting Spray. I really like this one. Nice, fine, cloud-like mist. I'm not looking to get dewy. I just want everything to be set, okay? Now we're going back in here, and this is where the look really, you know, you're paying attention to the inspiration pick and the saying, like, how did they do this? Well, they've got a very, like, sculpted sort of swath of color there, and then light on the lids. Most definitely lined all the way around, but not in the waterline. The waterline still has something bright in it. My look might turn out just a little bit warmer than this gal's look, but I'm going to do Faith in the crease. If you like a warm matte eye, you can totally achieve it with ease with this palette. But I'm just getting that crease kind of going a little bit here. And then I feel like I don't want the shape of my shadow to be quite as geometric looking as the picture, because I don't necessarily think that that's a trademark of all 90s looks. I think it's a cool thing that was done with this look, but like I've seen plenty of soft, smoky, kind of blown out looks as well. But hope is going to be a big factor in this. That's our dark, cool brown. Flat brush. I can see we got darkness on the outside, and then we're gonna really bring it up high though. And I'm just using that flat brush because I am covering some surface area here. And we're going to take that up, up, up. The amount of space you're going to cover will vary depending on the amount of space between your brow and the eye. And I've got a decent amount of space here, so I feel like I'm painting a wall right now. See what we got? Like I sometimes say when we're talking about outer V's and whatnot, hers definitely does not dip down below the imaginary line that comes between the corner of your eye and the tip of your brow. So I'm going to try not to drop back either. And I'm going to leave that little gap between my eye and the brow. See what I mean? Like, I just want mine to be a little bit softer. Trying to keep it even. Make sure it stays darkest right in the crease area and fades out from there. Then I want kind of like a small blending brush to just, and this really isn't a blending brush, it's a small firm eyeshadow brush from Profusion. It's like a jumbo sized pencil brush because I want to fade out, but I only want to fade the very edge of what I did. So that's why I'm reaching for something much smaller. And I feel like I got a bit close to my brow over here on this side, but I think we can remedy that with love. All it takes is love. And I'm gonna run that. This is a pigmented cream color that really will like kind of block off the area a bit more. And then for the lightness on the lid, I could do Love or Peace. Peace has a little more peach to it. I think I'll do Peace. Peachy Peace. Because that still stays plenty bright. You know, just hitting most of the lid with that. And if I see any areas that I want to work on the shape a bit more, I can always take my Profusion small pointed brush. Since we really stamped it out with the flat brush at first, now I can go in with this if I just need to, you know, concentrate my color a little bit better in certain places or what have you. Then we're going to do a pretty solid black liner across the top and incorporate just some kind of black liner on the bottom too. But what I know I can also see is lightness in the lower inner rim. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just matte pencil here. This is the ABH Duo highlighter pencil. But this is just kind of like the liner pen I've been working through lately, this Better Than Sex from Too Faced, and I'm going to take that across my lash line, and I don't really see a wing. Doing a wing might put us in another era, you know? I guess technically what we might call this look is like 90s supermodel vibes, because, you know, there's a whole grungy element to 90s beauty as well, and that's not really where we're going with this. I tell you, the time you can save by not winging out your eyeliner. Now on the lower lash line, I do think it kind of needs to be black liner, and I'm just gonna follow my lower lash line. It's not incredibly smoky, but there's just a presence, you know, that it has. And so I'm using my Maybelline Tattoo Studio Deep Onyx. This wears really well, guys, if you need a good pencil black liner, and it goes on easily too. So I'm getting that on there, and then I will probably smudge this a little bit just for added softness with my dark brown. I think that'll be perfect. Now I'll just smudge what's there. And then we will do a lash that's not like an over-the-top lash, but I think a lash is necessary here. Go all the way to the inner corner with that. Now we hop back into the Needs palette and we're going again to Hope, our dark brown. And again with that smudge brush, because it doesn't make our shadow too big, we're just smudging over, softening this line a bit. Not wanting to make it too big and thick and dark. Now I'm feeling almost like things need to get darker in my outer corner too. Like, I know lashes are going to change all this and give it a different vibe, but maybe I go into a little bit of Passion, my plummy, like sort of blackened plum color, and just get a little bit more of that in there. Isn't this a great palette? Like, the range you have. The range, y'all. I'm not saying like I'm surprised this is still on the market because of its quality, because I think its quality is great. I'm just surprised because in the scope of collabs, most of them are limited edition and last but a few months, you know. That's not how Revolution rolls. And I'm all for drugstore makeup not getting discontinued too fast. Kind of a pet peeve of mine, because I feel like stuff will just come and go so quickly from the drugstore. Okay, look what I did. Ooh, that just feels right to me, doesn't it to you? I just took my small pointed brush and I took a little bit of Passion. We hadn't even reached for that yet in this look. And I just needed it to get a little darker. And then, look, you just take that small pointed brush and make that go in with your lower lash line a little more. I'm not real concerned about this line of shadow being blended out to nothingness, because that's just not really the way the look is that I'm trying to mimic. But that did it for me. Okay, next up, we just curl the lashes. I'm gonna do a little Essence Lash Princess. This is the volume and curl on top. Like I said, it's gotten a little better with time. No, I won't sing Dust on the Bottle again, but age has benefited this one, which is sometimes the case for me with mascaras. Like now it's just going on with even more like quick build and length than it did when it was brand new. And I think you could definitely do this look and not do a false lash, because look at the shape of the shadow and how that kind of, you know, accomplishes that overall look goal, you know, with the darkness and depth and the lift. But I am gonna add a little bit of a lash because I just feel like I have the perfect one for this. It's sort of like an amped up demi-wispy. It looks like that. It came out of a cool little multi-pack that I got from Walmart. It's the Kiss So Wispy Curated collection, and it's the one called Ritzy up at the top. I just thought all those lashes looked so good. Did I already curl this side? I don't know. Honestly, I have no recollection. Trying not to hit my lid. I have such a clean looking lid with that matte color. Okay, so I'm gonna put those lashes on and do my lowers too, and I'll be right back. All right, here we are with the lashes on and the lower lash done as well. I need to sweep through these a little more. I think the lower lash is pretty essential. You want that kind of fringe down there if you're gonna do this really dark eyeliner. Like, I'm not used to really having that much on purpose from a pencil eyeliner down there, but what softens it a little bit is having, you know, your lash going on. And then I feel like this lash really mimics the lash I see in the picture. You know, it's not overly long, but it adds thickness. Then for lips, I'm gonna use Milani's Teddy Bear lipstick. This has been around so long. It's just a color statement lipstick. I'm gonna fill in the lips with that. My God, could I have picked a better pairing with my top? Great. I didn't even check to see in the details like what lipstick was used in this look. I bet they used the Nudegasm palette on the face, but this looks so much like that lip color. And then we're not done because I have a new lip liner. Mama's got a new Revlon Color Stay lip liner she wants to use. This is in the shade called Chocolate. So I already love and have mauve and raisin. This is as dark as raisin, just more neutral, less red in it. And we're gonna really like kind of just go ever so slightly over the edge. Her Cupid's bow isn't super duper defined, and I know that's kind of a trick to making the lips look fuller, is to not point your Cupid's bow quite as sharply, so I'm trying to water mine down a little. I love this lip combo. If you like something deep and you don't want it to be too warm, this is where it's at. Okay, and then finally on the face, I'm gonna come back to this powder called Kindness. This is like my setting powder in here basically. And I'm gonna use that right in here. What's also amazing is the great pigmentation I got on the eyes, but no fallout. I used some dark colors and I had nothing coming down, falling on my cheeks. I just wanna keep it real bright right in here. And then I may, you know, let a little more blush pop. I might even, you know, here's a little hack if you want to take Joy down a notch. Who wants to ever take their Joy down a notch? But, you know, if you want to richen it up a little, dip into your bronzer too. How lucky am I? Like, I'm sitting here doing a makeup look with my palette, which came out literally years ago, and now I'm still able to work with it and do looks with it for you. I love the way this all came together. Like I said, I know it's gonna wear like iron, so in the practical sense, I really enjoy this look, but I also just love the 90s vibe we brought to it. And you bet we're taking out these rollers right now. Yes. These are my T3 rollers. They're the 1-inch size, and in my opinion, like, they just hold the curl the very best in my hair. And I thought to bring up some hairspray. I've heard that this Redken Fashion Work 12 is really good when you're working with rollers, like to put in your hair as you roll up and just use it in movable kinds of styles. So now I'm gonna flip my hair over. Now I I don't have this full-on teased or anything, but what we want is just the lift and the volume, okay? So there's my 90s look. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this look. I hope you'll try it out if you have your needs palette at home. And yeah, what's coming next? More holiday reviews, of course. So let me know your requests in the comments. I love you guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.